guys, what's up? This is the third and final installment of these videos of the Legendary Dragon decks, and today we are covering Yuya and his Odd Eyes cards. The first card is Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. This is a level 7 Dark Dragon Pendulum normal monster with 2700 attack and 2000 defense, and has a pendulum scale of 8. Its pendulum effect is: if an Odd Eyes card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Odd Eyes monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only use this effect of Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon once per turn. Now, you'll be wondering why I didn't have a picture for this. This is new and exclusive to the deck, so I can't find any as of this moment in recording. Next card is Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. This is the alternative artwork which you will be getting. It is a Dark Dragon Pendulum, level 7 with a scale of 4 and an attack of 2500 and 2000 defense. Its pendulum effect is: you can reduce the battle damage you take from an attack involving a pendulum monster you control to 0. During your end phase, you can destroy this card, and if you do, add one pendulum monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. You can only use each pendulum effect of Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon once per turn. The monster effect is: if this card battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent is doubled. This card enables a search, and obviously it protects your pendulums in some respect, and places itself in the extra deck in doing so. And it can also cause double damage, which nearer the end of a duel can be quite. The next card is Supreme King Dragon Odd Eyes. This card is a Dark Dragon Pendulum level 8 pendulum scale of 4 with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and its card effect reads: pendulum effect, you contribute one Supreme King Dragon monster to destroy this card, and if you do, add one pendulum monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. Its monster effect reads: you contribute 2 Supreme King Dragon monsters, special summon this card from your hand. If your pendulum monster battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is doubled. During the battle phase, you contribute this card, special summon up to 2 face-up Supreme King Dragon and all Supreme King Gate pendulum monsters from your extra deck in defense position, except Supreme King Dragon Odd Eyes. The stats on this card mirror the same as the original Odd Eyes monsters and their subsequent counterparts. The pendulum effect is a -1, as you have to destroy 2 of your own monsters in order to search for a very restricted pendulum monster. Furthermore, though this card can be summoned back to the field using a pendulum summon, with the new link rules, any monsters brought back from the extra deck get the same treatment as other extra deck monsters, restricting their summoning this card in the extra card zone. As for the monster effect, the ability to special summon this card is very limited, as they must be Supreme King Dragon cards, and this means relying on searching and bringing out those particular monsters. Though this is a special summon, it still relies on the same tributes for summoning as other monsters of level 8, meaning it is susceptible to effect destruction. The ability to let your pendulum monsters inflict double damage, as well as this particular card, is decent, as pendulum monsters like to swarm the field, and the amount of damage easily adds up. It is what was in the original Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. The last part of its effect is useful later on in the game when your pendulum monsters have been used up. These can end up being used for link summons or exceeds monsters, or to protect your life points for the turn, especially since it's a quick effect. The next card is Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon. This is a Dark Dragon Pendulum level 7 with a pendulum scale of 4. It has 2500 attack and 2000 defense. Its pendulum effect is: once per turn, when an attack is declared involving a face-up monster you control and an opponent's monster, if you have an Odd Eyes card in your other pendulum zone, you can make that monster you control gain 1200 attack until the end of the battle phase, even if this card leaves the field. Its monster effect is: when this pendulum summoned card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by attacking, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of Odd Eyes cards in your pendulum zone, times 1200. You can only use this effect of Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon once per turn. This card can provide a monster with a decent attack increase, as well as causing significant effect damage of up to 2,400 at maximum. Couple this with standard battle damage, and you'll be looking at maybe 4,000 points of damage in a single turn. The next card is Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon. This is a Dark Dragon Pendulum level 3 with a scale of 8. Its pendulum effect is once per turn. If a face-up Odd Eyes Pendulum monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy one card in your Pendulum Zone. And if you do, place one face-up Odd Eyes Pendulum monster in your extra deck. In your Pendulum Zone, except Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon. Its monster effect is, during either player's turn, while an Odd Eyes card is in your Pendulum Zone, you can target one Odd Eyes monster you control. The first time it will be destroyed by battle or card effect. This turn, it is not destroyed. You can only use this effect of Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon once per turn. This card enables you to put an Odd Eyes in your Pendulum Zone, which can be good depending on their effects, and it provides protection to your Odd Eyes whilst it's in the Pendulum Zone. The next card is Performer Pal Odd Eyes Light Phoenix. This is a light winged beast pendulum level 5 with a scale of 3 and 2,000 attack and 1,000 defense, and its pendulum effect is when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack while you have a card in your other Pendulum Zone, you can destroy this card in your other Pendulum Zone, and if you do, special summon this card. Its monster effect is during either player's turn, you contribute this card, then target one Performer Pal monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack until the end of this turn. This can protect you from one attack by making itself the target, as well as increasing your Performer Pal monsters. The next card is Odd Eyes Unicorn. Performer Pal Odd Eyes Unicorn. This is a light beast pendulum level 1 with a scale of 8 with 100 attack and 600 defense. Its pendulum effect is once while this card is in your Pendulum Zone, when an Odd Eyes monster you control declares an attack, you can target one other Performer Pal monster you control. That attacking monster gains attack equal to the original attack of the targeted monster on the field until the end of the battle phase, even if this card leaves the field. The monster effect is, when this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one Performer Pal monster in your graveyard, gain life points equal to its attack. This can make your other Performer Pal monsters gain 2,500 attack and can recover life points. Next card is Performer Pal Skull Crobat Joker. This is a dark spellcaster pendulum, level 4 with 1,800 attack and 100 defense, and its pendulum effect is you cannot pendulum summon monsters except Performer Pal monsters, magicians, pendulum monsters, and Odd Eyes monsters. This effect cannot be negated. Its monster effect is when this card is normal summoned, you can add one Performer Pal monster, magician, pendulum monster, or Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand, except Performer Pal Skull Crobat Joker. This card is a searcher for basically any Performer Pal, magician, pendulum, or Odd Eyes card, enabling within any of these decks to bring out about the right card for the right moment. The next card is Performer Pal Rain Goat. This is a water beast level 1 with 0 attack and 0 defense, and its effect is during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that would inflict damage to you, you can discard this card, make that effect damage to you 0. During either player's main phase, you can discard this card, then target one Performer Pal or Odd Eyes card you control. This turn it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. This can respond to effect damage and provide your Performer Pal and Odd Eyes with battle and effect protection. The next card is Performer Pal Yugo Golem. This is a Dark Fiend Pendulum level 4, scale of 1, with 1,600 attack and 1,000 defense, and its pendulum effect is, during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that would inflict damage to you, you can discard this card, make that effect damage to you 0. During either player's main phase, you can discard this card, then target one Performer Pal or Odd Eyes card you control. This turn it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Its monster effect is once per turn during your main phase. If this card was pendulum summoned this turn, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using this card you control, and dragon type monsters you control as fusion materials. This card enables a search as a result of a fusion summon, as well as enabling itself to become a fusion material. The next card is Noble Dragon Magician. This is a fire spellcaster Pendulum Tuner, level 3, scale of 5, with 700 attack and 1400 defense, and its pendulum effect is, unless you have a magician card in your other pendulum zone, destroy this card. Its monster effect is, cannot be used as a synchro material, except for the synchro summon of a dragon type synchro monster. If this card is used as a synchro material, unless all other synchro materials are odd-eyes monsters, place this card on the bottom of the deck. If this card is in your graveyard or hand or graveyard, you can target one level 7 or higher odd-eyes monster you control, reduce its level by 3, and if you do, special summon this card. This enables the easy summon of an odd-eyes, as it would be reduced to level 4, and special summon this to enable an easy synchro summon. The next card is Odd-eyes Gravity Dragon. This is an Earth Dragon Ritual level 7 with 2800 attack and 2500 defense. And its effect is, you can ritual summon this card with Odd-eyes Advent. When this card is special summoned, you can return all spell and trap cards your opponent controls to the hand. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card effect's activation. You can only use this effect of Odd-eyes Gravity Dragon once per turn. Your opponent must pay 500 life points to activate card effects. This card sends your opponent's back row to their hand, and they cannot do anything about it. And every time your opponent wants to activate an effect, they will have to pay 500 points for that luxury. To an extent, it reminds me a bit of Chain Energy. Anything you do, you get punished for. Or to the same effect, and to probably a better effect, you had that, it was a Red Eyes Xyz monster. I think it was Red Eyes Metal Flare Dragon or something like that. The next card is Sky Iris. This is a field spell card that says your opponent cannot target Magician, Performapal, or Odd-eyes cards in your pendulum zones with card effects. You can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, add one Odd-eyes card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Sky Iris once per turn. This card protects your cards from card effects, as well as enables a search for your Odd-eyes monsters. The next card is Odd-eyes Fusion. This is a normal spell card that says fusion summon one dragon type fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. If your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, and you control no monsters, you can also use up to 2 Odd-eyes monsters in your extra deck as fusion materials. You can only activate one Odd-eyes fusion per turn. This enables you to use your already destroyed Pendulum Odd-eyes cards, as well as the standard polymerization effect. The next card is Spiral Flame Strike. This is a normal spell card that says activate one of these effects. If you control an Odd-eyes card, target one card on the field, destroy it. Add to your hand one level 7 Odd-eyes monster from your deck, or one face-up level 7 Odd-eyes Pendulum monster from your extra deck. This enables for you to either destroy a card or search for an Odd-eyes monster. The next card is Duelist Alliance. This is a normal spell card that says if there is a card in the Pendulum Zone, add one Pendulum monster or Pendulum spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one Duelist Alliance per turn. This card enables a search of one of your Pendulum cards, enabling a faster Pendulum scale to be built. The next card is Pendulum Impenetrable. This is a quick play spell card that says this turn, cards in Pendulum Zones cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Also negate any effect activated by your opponent that targeted a card or cards in the Pendulum Zones. This basically is there to protect your existing scale. The next card is Pendulum Storm. This is a normal spell card that says destroy as many cards in each player's Pendulum Zones as possible. Then you can destroy one spell or trap card your opponent controls. This can be used to counter your opponent if they are running a Pendulum deck. But if you no longer want your own Pendulum Scale, you can get rid of it and also remove an opponent's back. The next card is Pot of Riches. This is a normal spell card that says shuffle 3 Pendulum monsters into the deck from your graveyard and or face up in your extra deck, then draw 2 cards. You can only activate 1 Pot of Riches per turn. You cannot special summon the turn you activate this card except by Pendulum Summon. This card enables you to recover your used Pendulum monsters and enables you to draw to hopefully get those resources out fast. This card is Terraforming. This is a spell card that says add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand. This helps to bring out more advantage as most archetypes rely very heavily on their field spells. The next card is Echo Oscillation. This is a continuous trap card that says you can target 1 card in your Pendulum Zone, destroy it, then draw 1 card. You can only use this effect of Echo Oscillation once per turn. This can be good as you can get rid of your current scale, and since when it is destroyed it goes to the extra deck, it can be used later. The next card is Pendulum Reborn. This is a normal trap card that says special summon 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck, or 1 Pendulum monster from your graveyard. This enables you to recover your resources. The next card is Pendulum Switch. This is a continuous trap card that says you can target 1 card in your Pendulum Zone, special summon it. You can target 1 Pendulum monster in your Monster Zone, place it in your Pendulum Zone. You can only use 1 Pendulum Switch effect per turn, and only once that turn. This is what the Pendulums needed, a means of switching your Pendulum monsters between their Pendulum effects and their monster effects to get the best out of their effects. The next card is Dark Rebellion Yuya'S Dragon. This is an Yuya'S monster. It is a Dark Dragon Yuya'S monster of rank 4 with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and it requires 2 level 4 monsters. Its effect is you can detach 2 Yuya'S materials from this card and target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes half its current attack, and if it does, this card gains that lost attack. This is good as it can cut your opponent's stronger monsters and help to inflict more damage to your opponent. It being generic means anyone can run it. The next card is Clearwing Synchro Dragon. This is a Wind Dragon Synchro, level 7 with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and it requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters, and its effect is once per turn during either player's turn. When another level 5 or higher monster activates its effect on the field, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated that targets exactly 1 level 5 or higher monster on the field and no other cards, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If this card's effect destroys a monster, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end of this turn. This card can help to shut down your opponent's monster effects and can be more useful than in comparison to back row negation. This card is Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. This is a Dark Dragon Fusion level 8 with 2800 attack and 2000 defense, and it requires 2 dark monsters on the field except tokens. Its effect is if this card is fusion summoned, you can make this card gain attack equal to 1 opponent's special summoned monster until the end of this turn. Once per turn, you can target 1 level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, this card's name becomes that monster's original name, and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. If this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can destroy all your opponent's special summon monsters. This card is able to become very strong, over 4000 attack, provided there is sufficient monsters on your opponent's field. The ability to copy the effect is good, as your opponent won't be able to protect this card's ability, and punishing your opponent for destroying this card means you can destroy their entire board and start afresh on your next turn. The next card is Yuya'S Meteor Burst Dragon. This is a Fire Dragon Synchro level 5 with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and it requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Its effect is when this card is special summoned, you can target 1 card in your Pendulum Zone, special summon it. Also, this card cannot attack for the rest of this turn. You can only use this effect of Yuya'S Meteor Burst Dragon once per turn. Monsters in your opponent's possession cannot activate their effects during the battle phase. This stops monster effects activating during the battle phase and can bring out a card in the Pendulum Zone. The next card is Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. This is a Dark Dragon Synchro level 8 with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, and it requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner Dark Pendulum monsters. And its card effect reads, if this card is Synchro summoned, you can destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Once per turn before damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy that monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute to Supreme King Dragon monsters, special summon this card. This card has a condition that is more difficult than the Venom Dragon, as you must meet the level requirements to bring out this Synchro monster, and there will be times where this may be unachievable. As for its effects, the ability to act like a Raigeki for its summon means you are able to achieve instant advantage, as your opponent will have monsters on the field that may be difficult to defeat. However, this could also be a problem, as though this effect is useful, many monsters have the ability to float, therefore they can bring out other monsters to protect their life points, or stronger monsters that have card effect protection built into them. The next effect to destroy a monster before damage calculation means it can defeat stronger monsters without having to go into battle. Therefore, unless they can protect themselves, this card's effect can be used on either turn, with battle, as some monsters are specific to only when they are attacking. To inflict the full damage of the monster means you can end duels quickly, or bring them to a point where some of their cost cards, such as the Solemns, become useless. The final ability to revive itself reminds me of Stardust Dragon, and does so by getting rid of 2 Supreme King Dragon cards. There is some support for these cards, and can be easy to meet this condition. The next card is Yuya'S Absolute Dragon. This is a Water Dragon Xyz, rank 7 with 2800 attack and 2500 defense, and it requires 2 level 7 monsters. Its effect is, when any player's monster declares an attack, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, negate the attack, then you can special summon 1 Yuya'S monster from your hand or graveyard. If this Xyz summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Yuya'S monster from your extra deck, except Yuya'S Absolute Dragon. You can only use each effect of Yuya'S Absolute Dragon once per turn. This card can prevent 2 attacks as well as replace the materials lost to use this effect, with Yuya'S monsters enabling you to bring out another of these if you wish, and if you were to lose this card, it gets replaced with an Yuya'S in the extra deck. The next card is Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. This is a Dark Dragon Xyz monster that is rank 4 with 2500 attack and 2000 defense. It requires 2 level 4 Dark Pendulum monsters. Its card effect reads, once per turn before damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can detach 1 material from this card until the end of this turn, change the attack of that face-up opponent's monster to 0, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to the original attack of that opponent's monster. During the battle phase, as a quick effect, you can return this card to the extra deck, special summon up to 2 face-up Supreme King Dragon and or Supreme King Gate Pendulum monsters from your extra deck in defense position. This card's stats are the same as its original form, but enables a full reduction of your opponent's attack points to gain that strength. So this strategy can be very effective, as if your opponent has a strong monster such as Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can be inflicting 5500 damage to your opponent's life points, and since this lasts until the end of the turn, it should not be threatened by any attack reducing cards. The other benefit is, if this card is threatened, you can send it back to the extra deck to bring out 2 Supreme King Gate or Dragon monsters, enabling you to protect your life points, or if a different monster is required to deal with your opponent, you can bring out a rank 4 such as Castell or number 101 to give the advantage. This card is a rare and is generally a good idea. It's great that it's actually been introduced into this pack. The next card is Perform Pal Gatling Ghoul. This is a Dark Fiend Fusion level 8 with 2900 attack and 900 defense, and it requires a Performer Power monster and one level 5 or higher Dark monster. Its effect is, if this card is fusion summoned, you can inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each card on the field. Then, if this card was fusion summoned using a Pendulum monster as material, destroy one monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. You can only use this effect of Performer Power Gatling Ghoul once per turn. This card can be used to finish your opponent, as it causes 200 damage per card your opponent controls and destroys a monster they control, inflicting that damage. This could be as much as 5,000 or higher, depending on your opponent's strongest monster. The next card is Odd-Eye's Vortex Dragon. This is a Wind Dragon level 7 with 2,500 attack and 3,000 defense, and it requires one Odd-Eye's monster and one Pendulum monster. Its effect is, when this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. During either player's turn, when a spell or trap card or another monster's effect is activated, you can shuffle one face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck into the deck, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. You can only use each effect of Odd-Eye's Vortex Dragon once per turn. This card can send back an extra deck monster, which would be the best target, as well as reset your Pendulum monsters from your extra deck, which is more important now, as a Pendulum monster from the extra deck is now considered an extra deck monster, and can only be summoned to the extra monster zone. The next card is Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. This is a Dark Dragon Fusion level 8 monster with 2,800 attack and 2,000 defense. It requires 2 Dark Pendulum monsters, and its card effect reads, must be either fusion summoned or special summoned by attributing the above cards you control, in which case you do not use polymerization. Once per turn, you can target one other monster on the field or in the graveyard until the end phase. This card's name becomes that monster's original name, and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. Also, for the rest of this turn, if your monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. This card has a summon requirement to it, which means it is not suited to all decks and should be focused mostly against Pendulum-based decks, unless you intend to put Dark Pendulum monsters into your deck for their Pendulum abilities. The versatility amongst its summoning makes it very easy to summon. Often the problem with fusion monsters is having to wait for the fusion card, which used to be polymerization, but for a number of years since GX, archetypal and less specific fusion cards which offer further benefits when used have become available, such as Ultra Polymerization and Fusion Substitute. The ability to summon it by attributing the monsters required from the field is intrinsic to Pendulums as a whole, as they special summon in mass summonings. Once per turn, this means it can be easy to bring out these monsters. This card's ability to obtain a monster effect from either the field or the graveyard is very useful, as the longer a duel has been going, the more likely you will be to find an ability that can fit a specific situation, such as card destruction or removal. The best part of this effect is that it does not specify whether this effect cannot take place. By this, it means you can use either yours or your opponent's field, as well as either graveyard. Therefore, if you feel your monsters had better effects, you can rely on them instead. The part that determines this card's usefulness is that it does not maintain that specific effect for more than a turn. This means your opponent is kept guessing, as you can change effects between each of your turns, enabling more complex strategy to be achieved. The last part of its effect is more of a non-story. The ability to inflict piercing battle damage is something that most monsters have, but is still not to be sniffed at, as it could have some importance against defensive. This is the final video for this segment. Which cards do you like the most from this deck? Do you prefer the alternative artwork for the Dimensional Dragons, or would you have liked the original artwork? And which cards did you not want from this set? Leave your comments down below, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and as always, thank you for taking the time to watch this.